All right, ladies and gents, it is finally my favorite day of the week. At least I think it is, right? Today is Thursday. Thursday's my favorite day of the week. Why? Because it's SHIT, ladies and gentlemen. So happy it's Thursday. All right, let's get this show on the road. Here we go.
Shut up and sit down.
The Business Bros Podcast was created for you. Learn from the business professionals who come to share their stories. Find out what's working in business, on social media, what's hot and what's not, straight from the mouths of successful entrepreneurs out there doing the real work. And now, welcome to another episode of
Business Bros. All right, ladies and gents. That's right, we got a bro there. All right, I am down one bro, but regardless of when I'm down a bro, we still got a fire intro here ready to go. So James, drop the heat.
All right, all you business pros out there, before we jump into the show, just a quick reminder to please subscribe on whichever platform it is that you're listening to us on today. Give us a like, give us a follow, subscribe, drop a review, help other like-minded business owners find value from our awesome guests while we rise up in those podcast rankings. We'll sincerely appreciate every single one of you for it. And if you want to be a guest on the show, we'd love to have you on to learn from you as well. Go to www.businessbros.biz, schedule your time slot, and don't forget to follow us on all our social medias at Business Bros Pod. All right, everybody, we're so excited and so honored to bring yet another incredible guest to the Business Bros Pod. Our guest today knows that the key ingredient to success in marketing is this little saying: facts tell, but stories sell. He is a master storyteller, and his expertise is in empowering entrepreneurs to harness the powers of story marketing, story selling, and business storytelling to attract and sell your ideal clients. Now, there is an art to business storytelling, and our guest can help you improve your artistic skills to become a confident, authentic storyteller and transform how you connect and communicate in your business. Here is another selling secret. No one knows your business better than you, and no one can market your business better than you can. Our guest can teach you how to confidently use your unique voice and bring your personality and your personal touch to all of your marketing efforts. Once you know the secrets of strategic storytelling, marketing and sales become fun and enjoyable, and you'll never work another day in your life. Joining us today from Audience Magnet out of the unofficial international capital in the world, London, England. Welcome to the show, Dennis Morrison.
All right, Dennis, even when we're down a bro, we still managed to get that fire intro for you. So what do you think so far? You're on the Business Bros podcast, and I want to thank you for the time that you're coming in, because I know it's a different time over there in London, 4 o'clock over here. I don't know what time it is over there.
It's midnight, but I'm available anytime for all of you. I'm just happy to be on the show. Great to be here with you, Hernan. And although the other bro can't be there, you know what? I felt his love on that intro.
Thank you. I'm sure he's going to be watching and letting me know, dude, you should have played it like this or whatever. He's going to give me any 411. All right, let's get into this thing. When I talk to my students all the time, they're high school seniors, they graduated, they're about to enter the world. They start to dabble in this thing they call entrepreneurship, right? Start kind of figuring out what they want to sell, what they want to do. And they come across the ultimate problem that every entrepreneur faces. How do I get more clients? What do I say? Who do I talk to? What do I do in order to score some more of that stuff? Give me a little bit about your background and what is it that you tell these people to kind of help them, get them in the situation where it's no longer something that they're dabbling in, it's something that they're successful in.
Okay, wow, so many things for me to unpack there. Right, let me tell you a little bit more about myself. My name's Dennis Morrison from Audience Magnet. Yes, I'm in London, but I'm international. And I started out right at the bottom in the film industry. I didn't even know I wanted to be into it. And I got a job as an extra. And that's the first time I saw all this gear. And I was like, I want to do that. And I'm going to cut a story short. I spent time working in the industry, studied it. I'm probably the last generation to edit film on a Steamback. And if you don't know what that is, you should look it up on the internet. But I'll tell you, it's like, imagine a table where you put your film on and that's where you do your editing. That's why it's called cutting. I still train the new generation of filmmakers how to tell stories. However, I've brought that knowledge and skills to people who have their own business, people who want to grow a business, and people who really realizing that the art of communication is storytelling. All the old marketing stuff no longer works. It's about really touching people on an emotional level. And we all know stories work because we sit down and watch it. Now, the key is, how can I craft stories and tell them on purpose? And when I say on purpose, what do I really mean? I mean, we're in business, right? And we want to make some sales. So how can I purposefully tell stories that can lead to a sale? Now, I mentioned selling here, but what we're really doing is, how can I get and attract my ideal audience so they choose to buy from me? Do you see the difference?
Well, let's talk about the ideal audience, right? Because and I want to go into how to properly tell a story, but I think the first part is figuring out, well, who the heck am I talking to, right? When you're crafting a story, there's got to be some sort of audience that you're going to talk to. And it's funny because when you talk to entrepreneurs and they're like, who's your product for? They're like, well, it's for everybody. Essentially, if it's for everybody, you're talking to nobody. Everybody has a niche. How do we find out who we're talking to? Like, how, when you're creating a story that you're going to market behind your brand, should you have that identity already laid out, or should you kind of craft the story and then look for the customer or the story that the audience that you're pointing that story to?
Okay, so many people say, yes, this is how you should find your ideal audience. Do you know what I say is, who do you want to serve? You start with you first. Everyone's talking about doing things outside of you. I'm saying, how do you want to be? And then from that, who are the ideal audience for me? Now, the beautiful thing about storytelling and business storytelling is your opportunity to be unashamedly you, quirks and all. It's not about trying to be like someone else. It's not trying to copy someone else. It's like, how can I be as true to myself as possible so I do attract the audience that resonate with me? Because no one wants to work with people who don't feel you. We want to work with people who feel you. So that's step one, is forget trying to pretend, be yourself, and know that there are people out there who will resonate with you. The art is finding them, of course, but there are people out there who resonate with you, because you actually only need to be one step ahead from the person you intend to help.
Wow. Okay. Well, let's talk about some of these stories that we're going to go across. Some of these, being you. If you look on Instagram, if you look on Facebook, Twitter, a lot of these places, the you that is presented is not always the actual you. It's the highlight version of the you, right? It's, you talked about cutting film, like literally doing that. Well, back in my day, we had photo albums, and the photo albums are almost like what social media is today. In those photo albums, there's nothing but smiles and happy moments from one happy moment to the next. But that isn't what a human being actually is. We have all those peaks in our lives, but those dips and those valleys, that's where a lot of our emotion really lies. You feel the peaks much more if you understand all the trials and tribulations that a human had to go through. So help me elaborate on that authentic self and figuring out your story. How much of those trials and tribulations do I need to express and show in my storytelling?
Well, I heard something recently from a podcast, and someone says, talk about the scars and not the wounds. So what does that mean? Talk about things that you've been through and you found a solution to, not about what you're necessarily going through in terms of something that's painful. I think one of the issues with social media and everyone putting their highlight reels on is everyone knows it's not true. Stories are about conflict, about challenges, and how people are able to kind of rise above it or find a solution. So that's where stories come in, because that enables people to connect with you on an emotional level. And what does that really mean? It's like when you're telling a story correctly, they think, oh my God, you're talking about me. They feel they're in the story. They're going through the journey. So I'd say the highlight reels are not stories. They're just snapshots. And what we're looking to do is to bring people in with stories. And the beautiful thing about stories is there are frameworks that work. Yep, we want conflict, we want challenges, and we want some resolution. That resolution could be, hey, I could be the person who's helping you. We generally like things that aren't so happy. You know, when we see things that are happy, we're like, oh, that's good. We like things that aren't so happy because that brings people in. Then you could be the solution, or your business could be the solution. Yeah, or you could show the person who you may want to serve, who could be your ideal audience, where they could be and how you could help them get to the next step and the next stage. So I'd really say it's like looking down, not looking at your highlight reel, but looking at the journey. The journey's interesting. How did you get there? What's the journey you're going through? You might be creating something right now, and that might be an interesting story. The great things, the highs and the lows, and the challenges that you're facing. You may be doing something and you may change a story when it's not about you, but about a potential client who may be going through a situation. So they feel, oh my God, you're speaking about me. So there's many different stories you can tell. And one of the things many people tell you about stories is like, tell your story. You just need to tell your story. I disagree. Story is a way of communicating. It should be infused in all your communication. And depending on where someone is on their journey with you, that means there are different stories you should be speaking and telling to them in order to draw them in. Like a magnet, the aim is you become an audience magnet and they come to you.
You mentioned the journey, and it reminds me of a book I read called "The Hero's Two Journeys," and in it they talk about the storyline of that hero, right? Where he essentially he starts at the beginning where he has a particular life, and you can tell that this person isn't very happy in the situation that they're in, and then they go on a journey. Something most times it's an actual physical journey, but oftentimes it's also a mental journey. They go on this journey and they come across a guide that helps them solve this problem or guides them in the direction that they need to go in. And eventually they have this transformation where they become, they're a completely different person than when they started at. Regardless of whether they achieved the goal in the journey at the end of the story, they've transformed. That story always sounds so epic to me, right? It sounds like that's something that I watched on Marvel or in Lord of the Rings or something like that. How do I take such a framework, such an epic story, and bring it down to, I'm 17, 18 years old, just graduated high school. Where's my heroic journey? Am I the hero? Am I the guide? What am I supposed to be in these journeys that are going at so that other people kind of, they can relate to me?
Well, firstly, let's ditch that. That's the hero's journey. And the issue with that is it's so epic. You think, well, my life's pretty ordinary. I haven't had anything tragic that's happened to me like that. I haven't gone through that. So I'd say skip all of that. There are many different frameworks you can have. Just think, the simple way of a story is a beginning, middle, and end. That's just a simple framework that you can have. Yeah? Many stories have a beginning that never ends. That's the issue. Yeah, we want to bring people on a journey. Now, because it's business storytelling, we must have call to actions with it. And a call to action doesn't mean buy my stuff. It could be, what did you think about that? Hey, put some things in the comments. How did you do that? Yeah. So we're always telling it on purpose because we want to do it. And I think one of the challenges of people saying about using storytelling is people think, well, that sounds great. I love watching stuff. I love Netflix. But how does that work in business? And it's about having a systematic, structured approach, using frameworks. Now, the beautiful thing about frameworks is it's different for every single person that uses it. It's just a structure. It's not a template. It's not a formula. It's a structure that helps you construct stories in a way that can lead people on a journey, whatever that journey is. Now, remember, I want to get this across. It's storytelling with a purpose. It's not storytelling. The purpose is we want to grow our business. We want to help someone. We want to serve them. We want to help someone become a better version of themselves. That's why we are telling business stories.
Wow. It's funny because when you're saying those things, the first thing that popped into my mind was like a Facebook ad, and the reason why I did is because I'm going through an advertising course, and the copy that is written, it's not very long. It's maybe 6-7 sentences, but it's telling it's a framework that I'm being taught essentially, right? Are you struggling through this? Are these the things that are going on? Let's solve your problem. Click here or whatever it is. A quick little synopsis, a quick little story, and I'm finding that the more and more I practice those, the easier and easier it's getting. How do we choose a framework, and how do we utilize it? When we're having regular conversations, so that we practice that storytelling, and then it puts us in a position where we actually get good at it, where it becomes second nature, where I'm not thinking about it anymore.
Okay, well, first and foremost, storytelling is a skill that can be learned. The other thing is you're already telling stories, but I like to say it's like a language that we know it so well. We just don't know the details. So what you're learning is the details so you can craft stories in a way that can work for you. So I think that's really important to understand. You already know stories. You're telling someone a story why you turned up late, why we should go eat at this restaurant, why you think this is better over there. These are stories. We tell ourselves stories all the time in our heads. So for millennia, since we've been around, we've used storytelling in order to not just communicate with our tribe and our people, but also historically to pass things down, to help us get to different stages. If you think about just a simple story you could tell yourself, something you're challenging with, you might, just imagine you're playing a sport and you might be thinking, oh God, it's like, come on, you can do this. Yeah, last time you did. These are stories you're telling yourself. So you're already telling stories. Now, what you're learning is how can I use this to help myself, my business grow? Now, Hernan, you talked about Facebook ads and short stories. Now, that's the beauty of business storytelling. It doesn't matter what platform or what medium. It could be text, it could be video, it could be audio, but you can infuse it with storytelling. And like the Facebook ad you mentioned, it obviously brought you in to make you think, do I want to click? So it's working in that kind of way. So I would say there's many different frameworks, lots of different ones. So there's not just one, so when everyone tells you just the hero's journey, just knock that out the way. There's frameworks that can really help you, but just really think, if I didn't create this and I read it or I watched it or I heard it, what would I honestly do? That's step one. And when you're honest to yourself, I find that boring. Okay, go back. Let's rework that. Let's rework the text. Let's rework the copy, stuff like that. Or, wow, that's a really good line. Think about lines that work, words that seem to work. Why did you buy the last thing you did when you saw something? What was it about it? Did you really want it? Or did you persuade yourself that you wanted it? Remember, our buying decisions are made by our emotions first. Then we use our logic to justify our decisions. We do that all the time. I bought some stuff the last week or two, and yeah, I've had great logic why I bought them. But you know what is the emotions why I made the decision to buy it?
Let's hover on the emotional aspect of it, because ultimately that's what you were saying. That's where the stories, the good stories anyways, that's where they really land with customers and clients. And I agree with you, by the way. I've been using this Dr. Squash, I think it is. I think that's the brand, but it's this new soap that I ordered. And why did I order it? Well, because I saw it on TikTok and the ad came out and they were like, this is awesome. Your spouse will love it. It's a great smell, and I'm like, ooh, I want to feel that. I didn't really think I want to buy that. I went and ended up buying it, right? But I was feeling like I want to experience that story, that emotion, that sensation that I saw in that TikTok. And mind you, it's like a 15-second little clip that I saw, but it was short enough and compact and to the point where I too wanted to experience that emotion. How do I know, help me out with the framework, and maybe you can tell me what the bonus is scrolling at the bottom of the screen here. How do, when it comes to picking these frameworks and kind of choosing these emotions, how do we bring those emotions to life almost? Like I feel like I get almost a writer's block sensation where I'm like, ooh, I want to make you feel happy. And then I'm like, okay, what do I write down? and like nothing comes out at that point. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I really do. Let me talk about the free gift first and foremost, because I think that's going to help people first a lot. So if you take advantage of the free gift, it's the 4 types of storytelling with 60 different ways that you could use storytelling in your business. Now, if you choose to get the free gift, within a day or two, you'll be invited for free to do a 5-day mini course. It's called Sell with Story. So it's completely for free. And those 5 days will help you get clear on who you are, what you offer, and why someone should buy from you. So really help you get clear. I like to say 5 days to determine your next 12 months. So that's step 1. And I think it's firstly, it's being clear on what you offer and who you offer it to. Now, when I say who you offer it to, there may be multiple peoples you offer it to. So I like to call them avatars. So I say there's different people who are interested in what you offer, but start with one and focus on the one first. You can add the others later. Then you're going to think about, okay, what's the best platform that is that I can find them the way to communicate? Then you're going to do some research and you're going to say, okay, so what are the things people within my space, what are the things they are doing that I like? Remember, because part of the storytelling is infusing you in it. It's about infusing you. It's not about copying someone else and doing what they did. It's being inspired by someone else and saying, it's like a meal. Oh, I like that meal. Let me cook it. People cook meals differently. How can I cook this meal? And listen, like anything, don't look at these people who are superstars and massive and expect to do that straight away. It's about doing it and continual improvement and growth. That's what it's about. So it's not about, oh, this didn't work. It's like, okay, next time I can do this. Now, the reality is what works, no one knows. If everyone knew what worked, would have blockbuster films all the time. No one knows. But by using the structures, you are in the right ballpark to grab people's attention. Now, at the moment, we're in the attention economy. So we are competing with everything. We're competing with the phone, with games, with eating out, with you name it, with being on Facebook, on Instagram, on TikTok, doing a Google search, we are competing with everything. We're competing for people's attention, and our attention and time is the most precious thing. But in order to get people's attention, we need to disrupt them. We need to get them to go and look and notice us. So think about, what can I do to grab people's attention? Then I can use the art and structures of storytelling to hold their attention. We grab first, then we hold, then we bring them closer and closer like a magnet. So we become the choice when they're looking for what we offer, whatever that is.
That sounds like delivering value. That sounds like and when you're talking about grabbing attention, it's so funny because to me that is a skill in and of itself. The headline, that hook, that thing that's going to grab attention. We spend hours and hours just talking about that alone. I mean, it could be anything from showing topless to having a kitty to, a baby crying. Like, it could be almost anything. And I totally agree with you in that aspect of nobody really knows, but there are people who are doing it well at a high level. We can look at companies like Coca-Cola's or the Disneys of the world. Some of these companies that are already successfully out there creating or grabbing attention and nurturing that. But I'm the little guy, right? I'm the little guy. Should I be taking notes from some of these big guys when I sit down and look at the free gift that you're offering? Am I going to be able to distinguish between the two? Am I going to be able to kind of get myself in gear where I know what I'm doing every single day? Where, I'll give you an example. When we started the podcast, we committed to doing 3 years or about 1,000 episodes. Your episode 752. My very first episode was horrible. Right. But I knew up front that if I came out and I did this every single day, I would get better behind the microphone. My speaking would get better. My focus would get better. I'd become a better interviewer, and I'd develop a skill over time. When we sit down and go and check out theaudienceMagnet.com/business bros, when we go there and we do the 5 days for 12 months, for the next 12 months, how much practice is this really going to take? Is this something that's going to take me hours and hours in daytime that it's like doing homework and I'm not going to like doing it? Or is it something that I can just kind of integrate into my normal everyday stuff? And it's just the way I talk to my kids, I talk to my spouse, and the way I develop my business copy.
Okay, so there's two things that I think, I want to respond to what you're saying. First and foremost, let's go to this. That my thing is 25 minutes, one Pomodoro each day. And that's about 1% of your day. If you're not willing to invest 1 to 2% of your day to help your business grow, just forget doing business. Go get a job somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's step one. Yeah. The second step is ignore the big people. It's a bit of a bugbear of mine. Everyone cites Apple and Coca-Cola. Yes, it's so easy when you're $1 billion company. Yeah. And it's really boring and easy to cite these people who have a team of 200 people who are coming up with the ideas and doing this. So ignore them. Think about what can you do in your capacity. We have a phone now. We can film stuff. You actually, as I said, it's a language you understand. Start paying attention to the things you do like. And when I say ignore them, yes, there are things that they do well, but don't try to emulate them because you can't. And you know what? If you try to emulate them, you'll just be a bad version of them. However, no one can emulate you. No one can. And when you realize that, whatever you do, yes, it can improve. But like Hernan has said, he started out on episode 1. I'm in the 700s now. And just look at this show. Look how smooth it is. And if he decided after episode 10, you know what? I'm not going to do it anymore, we wouldn't be here today. Yeah, so
true.
Keep doing it, keep practicing. It's a skill and a craft that can be learned. That's the great news about it. You can learn this, you can get better. And the more you do it, the more you want to learn. So it's not something where I know it all. It's like, no, there's a different approach. I can do it this way. We change, our attention changes. If you look at films, for example, these classic black and white films, some of them are great, but you watch some that are the classics and you're like, this feels a bit boring, it's a bit long. But at that time, that was cutting edge. It was really fast. Our attention spans, the information we can take in a split second, even 10, 15 years ago, they were a little bit longer. So we can compute information so much quicker now. So we are evolving as human beings. That means stories and how we construct them, and whether we're using them in audio, video, or text, that's always changing. But you know what hasn't changed? The fact that stories still grab our attention. The fact that when you say to someone, what are you doing tonight? You might say, oh, should we watch something? The fact that you might sit and read a book, or you might listen to a music track that's telling a story. Yep. This is part of our DNA. And when you realize how much it's influenced your whole life, you'll be sold on using storytelling to grow your business. It's that simple.
I 100% agree with you. We're coming towards the end here, so I want to do a two-parter here towards the end. So first of all, I know we did it during the show, but I want to make sure we do it at the end here as well. Let people know what they're going to get when they go to theaudienceMagnet.com/businessbros and how they can get a hold of you. And then second, as a storyteller, we have an interview-based platform, and I'm always looking to improve the way we do the show. Maybe certain sound effects, maybe certain segments. As a storyteller, what feedback can you give me about your experience on the Business Bros, and how can we improve?
Oh, how can you improve? Let me go. I'll tell you what the free gift again is quickly. So it's the 4 types of storytelling. And within that, there's 60 different ways that you can use storytelling in your business. You can choose the ones that work for you. And then in a couple of days, you'll be invited to get the 5-day mini course, Sell with Story, completely for free, which will help you get more focus on what you offer and why someone should come to you. So that's what you're going to get. Now, in terms of interview shows, there's so many different approaches. How can you improve? Well, Come on, Hanan, that's a tough one for me. You've done 700 odd shows. So, but it's about, do you know what I do really enjoy? Your personality comes out. No one can do the show like you, and the other part of the business, bro, he's not there, but what a great intro. So just that itself as the uniqueness. That's what I want to say to all you listeners and all you viewers out there. When you do your thing, no one can do it the same way as you, but it's about consistency. It's about willing to not be good at the start, but it's knowing that if you persevere and you focus, you will get better. But so I can't give you any advice of how you can get better. Sorry, Hanan, I can't do that.
No worries, I had to ask. That's part of the business right here, right? We had to ask. All right, ladies and gents, make sure you guys check out what Dennis is offering you. Go to theaudienceMagnet.com/business bros and get your, think about this, 5 days. Like, first of all, you're going to get information that you can use right then and there, right? Start implementing some of these story frameworks. But second, you're going to get a 5-day training, 5 days for you to go on and master this for the rest of the year. You'll be prepared to talk about your business in a way that actually attracts attention and people actually want to do business with you. You're going to capitalize on that stuff, and he's giving it away for free. So make sure you guys go check it out, theaudienceMagnet.com/business bros, so you guys can get started on some storytelling. Well, Dennis, thank you very much again for being on the show, my friend. I know it's late out there, so I really, really appreciate you coming on and taking the time to share with the audience.
And then thanks so much for inviting me on your show. It's been an absolute pleasure and a blast. I just really want your listeners and your viewers to take action. You know what? It's so easy to listen to stuff and say, oh, that sounds good. Yeah, I should do that. Nothing happens if you don't implement. So take action. If you're serious about it. If you're not serious, do nothing. Do nothing. Just listen and do nothing. But if you're serious, take some action. And if you want to reach out to me, please feel free to connect with me on LinkedIn or Instagram, or go to audiencemagnet.com.
One more time, follow on IG. It's right there, at Dennis Morrison with an underscore at the end. By the way, Dennis, I have a mentor, Billy Gina's Marketing, that I'm taking the course right now. And one of the things he says on his podcast is there's no such thing as $1 million idea, only $1 million execution. So it doesn't matter what you think, what you learn. It's not until that point where you take action and you begin to implement. And I love what we said earlier is that first time you implement, you're going to suck. Let's just face it. It's not going to be very good, but you continue to implement and you're going to get to that $1 million execution at some point. All right, ladies and gents, we'll see you guys next time. That's all we got for you guys today. Enjoy the rest of your Thursday. SHIT. So happy it's Thursday. Peace out, y'all.
Thank you for listening to the Business Bros Podcast. Are you looking to get more clients or to increase your income? Hernan, the business bro, can help you generate referrals through the power of podcasting. And James, the insurance bro with Pipeline Insurance, can help you effectively add insurance to your existing business. If you are ready to create wealth today and generational wealth for tomorrow, email businessbros@seeusfirst.com to schedule a free consultation, or join the Business Bros Network, www.businessbros.biz.